Well, hello everybody. Welcome to beautiful Bonner's Ferry again. I know everybody's been talking about the Doge and everybody getting fired. You know, it's the funniest thing. Nobody really cares. Nobody gives a crap about people who lose their job until it happens to them. I mean, when people started putting in the self-checkout, nobody complained because so many people were getting fired from their jobs and didn't have jobs as stalkers. You know, checking out and stuff. Nobody cared. Those people that are getting fired that work for the government, they didn't care, not one little whit. But now they're the ones losing their jobs and they're throwing a big fit and having protests in the streets and whatnot. I think it's funny how you can tell how much somebody makes by how big of a fit they throw about their job. And the truth is, most of us don't really care. We're pretty sure they're overpaid for doing pretty much nothing anyway. I'm not saying all of them don't do stuff, because I'm sure a lot of them do. I don't know what they do, but you know, that's not my job. So, well, I'm just saying, most people really don't think it's that big of a deal when somebody loses their job. Back in the 80s, when they decided they were going to bring all the Mexicans in to take all the jobs from the Americans that were doing the jobs, the farmers needed people they could pay less money and whatever, and nobody cared about that neither. You know what they said? Oh, we're doing them a favor. They can get better jobs. They'll learn new skills. And they'll just get better jobs. And that's what they're saying with AI too. Oh, it'll be okay because AI is going to take people's jobs, but they can just get better jobs. All those people that work in the warehouses, it's not a big deal that they're losing their jobs. But the federal government people that are losing their jobs, this is a big deal. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. You think because you make more money than other people that your job is more valuable, that you don't or shouldn't have to learn a new trade skill to make money. I think it's not a thing. I think if everybody has to learn a new trade, then everybody should have to learn a new trade. It shouldn't just be the people who didn't go to college, or the people who actually loved the job they were doing. My mom, oh, that was close, that deer almost got us. My mom absolutely loved working for McDonald's. I don't know why. It made no sense to me. It's a grueling job. It's made for young people running around 100 miles an hour. She's, you know, an old lady in her 60s. She loved to talk to the people and serve people. It's, you know, something she just loved to do. I never personally understood it. But then again, I make and sell jewelry. And I do a podcast, which everybody knows. So, it's not about that. Because before she ever did that, she was a nurse's aide. She worked in nursing homes. She helped other people. That's what she did. Apparently, though, it is very hard because you get attached to your patients. And when you work in a nursing home, you know the one thing that's true is that most of those people came there to die. So they would die and she would be sad, and apparently you're not really supposed to go to their funerals and whatnot. That's not part of your job. But how can you tell somebody don't get attached to your patients? It doesn't work that way. It's kind of like when she worked in McDonald's. Okay, and you know how many times people that work in places like that save people's lives because they know, okay, this person comes in all the time. This person hasn't been in a while. I'm wondering why. What has happened to them? They come in every week, or they come in every other day, or whatever. And suddenly they're not here. there is a reason for it. And a lot of places like that save a lot of people's lives because they're like, hey, has anybody seen Jane? Jane hasn't been in. Does anybody else find this weird? You know, so then they get somebody to go check on Jane, and it turns out Jane had a heart attack. Somebody saved their life, or they're the ones that figured out that Jane is no longer around. You know, you don't think that's an important job, but it's surprisingly important that people have routines and they see other people. And these jobs that people don't think are very important, sometimes they're the most important jobs that a person has. Like I said, my mom absolutely loved working there. I personally didn't get it, but she did. She loved it. When she retired, she was very sad. God damn it. So yeah, no, it's a thing, you know. There's a lot of people that love their jobs. You think just because somebody works in a warehouse, it's not a great job. Well, maybe they like that job. Maybe they like the fact that they get to exercise and they get to do something they like to do and they get paid for it. You know, I know people that build houses. Absolutely love building houses. They actually get paid halfway decent. Not as much as these guys that are doing your Social Security things and whatnot. Not even close to that. But I was surprised to learn that like half the country doesn't make more than $32,000. And I was thinking, oh, $32,000 is a lot of money a year. And then I found out it's nothing. And that, you know, not even half the country makes that much a year. And then the rest of the people that make more than that, well, they pay most of the taxes apparently. And those of us who don't make that much money, we're the ones who should have better jobs. Well, guess what? That's your teachers, people. A lot of teachers don't make $32,000 a year. And they have one of the most important jobs in the world. They teach your kids. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I was surprised about that too. And then there's people like my mom, who's now retired because, well, she can't work anymore. She's 76. She's got bad knees and her back's not great. She's worked all of her life since she worked since she was like 16. You know, she's 76. So, and yeah, she don't even make quite $10,000 a year. And this is on her Social Security she paid in for all her life. And I was thinking to myself, this is so sad. Because if it wasn't for us kids and whatnot, she is so far below the poverty line on the income that she makes that she couldn't live anywhere. And, you know, there's a lot of people in that situation. And then they're talking about all these people who are homeless, got nowhere to live. Well, I'm not surprised if a lot of them are on Social Security. You know, $900 a month ain't a lot of money. And if you're only paying a quarter of what you're supposed to make is supposed to go on rent, I don't know anybody who's only paying a quarter of what they make a month on rent, but yeah, you're only supposed to pay a fourth of what you make on rent. Well, you know how much the rent would have to be? Like $200 a month. Nobody's finding a place anywhere in the whole country to live for that price. So, yeah, there's a bunch of homeless people. And they can't afford to live nowhere. So they'd be buying tents and parking in themselves in the tents in parks and on city sidewalks. And you know what's sad? There's a lot of land just outside of town that's not usable for anything. Nobody wants. Pretty cheap land. But if you were to buy that and try to put homeless people there, or let some little homeless person buy a piece of that land and try to build there, because they don't have money to build a home. But they can't camp there in a tent. And if they were to buy a camper or a trailer or a fifth wheel, they can't put it there and live, even though it gets them out of town, because there's so many rules and laws and stuff. I really do hope Trump takes care of some of that stuff, because it's ridiculous. If you buy a piece of land, you should be able to live on it if you want to. Especially when it's out in the middle of nowhere and there ain't no neighbors. What do you care about the building code? So what if they want to live in a motorhome? That's what they can afford, or a little travel trailer. It shouldn't matter to anyone, as long as they're happy and they're not hurting no one, and they're not breaking a bunch of laws and stealing and whatnot. I don't see why anybody can't be happy for somebody else to live their lives and get their best life forward. Because some people, that's all they got. You know? I know a lot of people think that that's not cool. They have to have running water. They have to have power. They have to have this. You know what? For thousands and thousands of years, we did not. It's not a necessity. It should not be a rule or a standard that people have to live by when they don't have that kind of money. And it's not like nobody's going to give them more money. Okay? There's a lot of these people who've done all they can. They're old. They're tired. They're broken. They can't do anymore. They're not going to get more money from the government. They can't afford this stuff. And even the people who are lucky enough to be young enough, have kids or whatever, and can get into a housing thing, they can't have nothing. They can't have dog. Their kids can't have friends come over and stay. There's so many rules and regulations that life is pretty much miserable there. And all they're doing is trying to get enough money to move out of there. And it's sad. It really is sad. Because, I don't know, I have dogs. And if I had to give up my dogs, first off, never happen. I'm not giving up none of my children. It's just not happening. And I know, you can say what you want. They're just dogs. Well, to me, they're not just dogs. To me, they're family. And if you have a dog and they're not family, you shouldn't have a dog. I'm just saying. If you don't think about them and their lives as being as important as anybody else in your families, you ought to not have one. If you think that somebody should be able to tell you, I'm sorry, you can't have a dog, you can't live here, and you go, oh, I've had this dog for 12 years, but I can give him away, not a problem, you shouldn't have a dog, and you never should have had a dog, because you really don't care about it enough to have had it. And I can tell you this, because if you could give him up that easy, you never cared about him that much in the first place. It's like a car. You're treating it like a piece of property, and it's not. It's a living being. If somebody said you can't own that car and live here, yeah, I'm not saying I'm so attached to my car I might not choose another car, but I'm not getting rid of my dog. And truth is, I probably wouldn't get rid of my car either, because I can't afford to buy another one. But you know what I mean. It's this, people have gotten so out of hand and crazy and telling each other how to live that it's ridiculous. And I don't know why. I don't know why people think it's okay. That doesn't make sense to me. It's like the reason it's like that is because there's too much reach. There's too many rules. There's too many regulations. There's too much government. Kind of, that's what the Doge even said. That's why they're trying to get rid of stuff. They're trying to get rid of some of these stupid rules. These dumb laws. And I hope they do. I hope they throw out all these damn regulations and stuff and start over. Because they're not really for public safety. They're just a way of some Karen telling you what you can and cannot do. If you want to live like that, you can live in an HOA. Personally, I wouldn't move into an HOA. You couldn't pay me enough money to live there. I wouldn't do it. Oh, you cannot put out decorations. You can paint your house, but it has to be this color. If your grass gets more than 2 inches tall, we're going to fine you. You can't barbecue. Your smoke is bothering your neighbor. Your neighbor who's never even home. You know what I mean. The whole thing is just ridiculous. So, I don't know what to tell people. I don't really feel that badly for the people who are complaining about their losing their jobs, because they don't feel bad when other people lose their jobs. And that's the way most people are. I don't think anybody should be losing their jobs. But I don't think anybody should have a job that isn't needed. But I don't believe any job isn't needed at some point by somebody. So, you know, I don't know what to say about that exactly. And the building things, everybody's known for a long time those have been out of hand. It's why when there's a catastrophe, nobody can get anything done. You can't rebuild because you can't get permits. I don't know what these permit things are anyway. It's just another way for the county or the state to make money off of you that they've already made a bunch of money off you to start with. I don't know, but I'm going to let you go, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.